So I got quite the experience to share with you. But of course, this is a off-grid vlog, and so I have to talk about vloggy things. So I wanted to show you an obstacle I finally overcame living off-grid. I know people are going to argue with me, people are going to tell me I'm stupid and all that stuff, but I'm just not a big fan of replacing batteries on the truck every year. This is the second battery I've owned on this truck. The first one we replaced, I don't know, 6, 7, 5 years ago maybe? I don't remember, a while ago. But you'll see some of these wires that I got cut off here. Those wires ran to the camper that we had on the back of the truck. So we traveled around, we were nomads. Although I shouldn't have, I tied this battery into my deep cycle battery. And the reason I did that was it gave me a little bit extra battery for the camper. And I was able to charge the truck camper battery while this truck was running. I was fine with the idea. I know there's a lot of people who are going to tell me, this is what you should have done, and this is how you, I mean, I know all that stuff. This is just the way I wanted to do it. People argued with me that you're going to wake up one of these days, try to get out of there, and battery's going to be dead. Well, I wasn't dumb. Yeah, that could happen. But I also had a generator and a battery charger. I didn't have solar panels back then. So I had a battery charger just like this, and we had a generator. Start the generator up, charge the battery, and you're on your way. And it really doesn't take long. It's a lot safer than battery cables also. I know everybody says you gotta have battery cables, but they're just better solutions. I haven't replaced the battery because I've damaged the battery. I know I damaged the battery, so every winter I struggle with the battery a little bit. About this time of year, every year I end up having to charge the battery with battery charger. It seems to work because I haven't had to replace the battery yet. If you don't like it, that's fine. I wouldn't even comment if I were you, because probably just delete the comment. It aggravates me. I've explained it enough. So used to, when the battery would die, I would have to grab the generator, drag it up here, drag the battery charger up here, and charge the battery that way. Well, then anybody that would drive by would stop, you need a jump, and all that, and I was just, leave me alone. I'm not a people person. I've said that many times in my videos. One of the things I tried to do in the past was run the battery charger off my solar panel setup. Now, in the past, I had what was called a modified sine wave inverter. What an inverter does is it changes DC electric. So electric that is generated by your car, 12 volt DC electric, into AC electric. So AC electric is the stuff that you use in your house, usually 110, 120 volt. And you can buy these things at Walmart, modified sine wave. There's some downsides to modified sine wave. So this is, actually I have two of them here. I have two modified sine waves. I have a 1,000 watt and a 2,000 watt. So this is modified sine wave inverter. You can see probably the plug-ins there. What you do is you hook these wires up to your battery. So that goes to negative, that goes to positive. But there are some downsides to running modified sine wave. Modified sine wave, what a sine wave is your hertz. Now, there's a lot more explanation of this, and for the experts, I don't need criticisms or critiques. I'm trying to keep this simplified. Your house electric runs on 60 hertz. So up 60 or down to 0, whatever it is. Maybe it's up 60, down 60, I forget, but it doesn't matter. I know the experts out there, they're going, you're wrong, don't teach us stuff unless you understand it. I understand it enough. So that is clean energy when it's running 60 hertz. Well, when you run modified, it cycles a little bit crazy. And I've hooked what they call a kilowatt meter up to an inverter, and it's just all over the place. Up 50, up 40, down 40, it's just everywhere. It's a mess. So it's not clean energy. So if you take a digital alarm clock and you plug it into modified sine wave inverter, it will lose time. Same thing with sensitive electronics, modern day TVs. Carolyn's son moved here, and he bought a TV with him, or bought it, or whatever, brought it, whatever it was, I don't remember. And we couldn't run that TV, so we ended up getting pure sine wave inverter. So now we have two. We got the 1,000 watt and the 2,000 watt. Well, the battery charger, even though it's not sensitive, it wouldn't run, the modified wouldn't run the battery charger. It would just trip like there was too much power on it. So I hooked it up to 2,000 watts. Same thing, tripped. I didn't understand why. Although anytime I plug these battery chargers into my generator, either generator, the 2500 watt or 1500 watt, the red light kicks on briefly, indicating that there's a power surge on it. I don't know why. Every battery charger I've ever owned, I own 2 now, and they both do it. I've owned, I don't know, probably a half dozen battery chargers since we started the nomadic life, and they all turn that red light on. Don't know why, and I don't care. So when I got the true sine wave inverters, these run 60 hertz. They're very clean energy, so you can run your electronics and your alarm clocks and your TVs. I tested the battery chargers, and it worked. I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is, why it was tripping the inverter. But regardless, it did, and now it doesn't. So you can see that I have made my own extension cord. I had a lot of this wire left over. We ran wire into the house. This is outdoor, 12-2 with ground, and we ran wire to the well. So I had a lot of this left over. Probably 150 feet of it. Well, when Carolyn's son moved here in that camper, of course he's gone now, but when he moved here, I made this cable. Well, initially it didn't work. There was something wrong with it. There was a short somewhere, and it tripped. Conversely, that's what was so strange. It tripped the true sine wave, but it was running just fine off the modified. Couldn't up. So it's just the opposite of what the battery charger was doing. Well, it turns out there was a ground stripped wire there. I guess I cut it somehow or another and didn't realize it. So I fixed this wire, and so it's plugged in now, and I ran it all the way up to the truck, and now I can run the battery charger off the solar panels. Now that is huge to me. I've talked about this many times, that life here keeps getting easier and easier and easier. We're having to rely less and less and less and less off the generator. So the only thing we're really running now is a small 1500 watt generator on cloudy days, for extended cloudy days. I mean, we just had basically a week and a half of cloudiness. So I had to run this quite a bit this last week and a half, but instead of running it 3 or 4 hours a day like I used to, I'm only running maybe an hour or 2 a day. So it's a huge reduction in runtime, even on cloudy days. Over the summer, I really modified the solar panels, added a new charge controller, added 2 new solar panels, and it just made all the difference in the world. Able to run the well now, air conditioner, camper, and now we can run the battery charger to charge batteries on the truck. It kind of brings me to today's topic. Last year, when I mentioned that the battery was dying on the truck, I didn't like to go very many places, I got scolded, and you need a battery cable, jumper cable. And I'm not going to buy one, because when you get a jumper cable, you rely on people. You got to ask someone to jump you, and you know, they are all of a sudden the hero, and it's just dangerous nowadays to do that. So it's a lot easier for me to throw the generator in the back of the truck, grab a battery charger, and the thing is generator's light enough that when we park, I can put the generator inside the truck. That way it doesn't even get stolen. And I learned all this as a nomad. When we used to do live feeds, I would run the generator in the back of the truck, run the battery charger, so I could leave the key on the truck without running all the gas in the truck. I don't know, I just got real creative on how to get electricity. I refuse to let anybody help me. I've been doing these videos, compilation videos of the tiny house build, and you will see in these compilation videos that I did the whole thing myself. I was coming up with jigs and things, the whole boards, and the whole time that I'm building a tiny house, people are telling me, you need to get help, you need to get neighbors help, you can't do this by yourself. And people don't even think things can be done on your own. They just immediately jump into, oh, I need help. Well, help causes problems. Anytime I've had a problem in my life, anytime, it was a result of somebody else being in my life. I've never been in trouble because I did something wrong. I've always been in trouble because someone was there with me while I got in trouble. And I'm not even talking about legal trouble or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about problems in life. People are the reason life has struggles. So the fewer people you're around, the easier life is. I used to think I had to be part of society as an introvert. I used to think I had to mingle, and I just never fit in. And now that I am here, I am so much happier not being around people. We've had 2 people show up to this place in recent history. Both of them was, I don't know, trouble. I don't understand what's happened, but something has happened in society that I just feel like there's evil in the world, and people are more apt to cause you problems. Even if you try to do something good. Watched a video a while back. This police officer is struggling with a person he is trying to arrest. They're entangled in a battle. And the guy he's trying to arrest is trying to go for his gun. So an armed private citizen, just a regular guy, runs up to the officer. Officer, I'm armed. Can I help? The police officer says, yes, shoot him. So the private citizen pulls out his firearm, shoots him right in the head. Officer's safe. Everything's fine. And what do? They arrested the private citizen. Well, that's not true. That can't happen. What are you talking about? Why did they arrest him? Well, I mean, he wasn't convicted. He didn't serve any prison time. But he spent, 2 years in court systems, paying lawyers hundreds of thousands of dollars. The world has turned evil. And if they can come after you, they will. And they are. So I've become very cynical in life. You're mean. That's fine, I'm mean. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with people hating me. I've said that in my videos. Nobody likes me. Don't bother me. It really doesn't bother me. Maybe 25 years ago, back in the 90s, we came up on this car accident. A young man and girl, teenagers, going to the prom or some school dance. They're in their dress clothes. And they ran off the road into a ditch. Well, I just got out of the military, had a lot of medical training. I mean, not a lot of medical training, but some medical training, first aid stuff. So I get out of the car, I see if I can lend a hand, and they're laying in the yard, and nobody's doing anything. I said, did anybody call 911? Well, the homeowner says, I don't think so. I said, can you go in and call 911? This is before cell phones were very popular. So she runs in. Guy standing there, he said, you got any blankets? So I'm checking these guys out. And the young man, his face is all cut up, but he's very lucid. He knows what's going on. But the girl, she's got a compound fracture ankle. She's probably lost her foot, if I had to guess. And everybody's just standing around not doing anything. So when the medical team showed up, I walked up to the ambulance driver. I said, he's lucid, but he's got a lot of lacerations on his face, but there's something wrong with her. She's not thinking clearly, and she has a compound fracture ankle. And I leave. I don't give my name. I don't do anything. You don't want to be identified. You don't want to be in the media. You don't want to be in the newspaper. Well, a few years later, after Carolyn and I got together, we're driving home from work, and there's this guy, this truck, in the ditch upside down, and hundreds, I'm telling you, hundreds of people standing around looking at it. So I jump out. I'm still in my work clothes, the khakis and a dress shirt. He's still in the truck. His face is in the water. He's trying to hold his head up, trying to keep it out of the water, and he is really suffering. And the temperature is probably like it is today, probably in the 30s, not below freezing, but cold. And nobody's doing a thing. I jump down in the ditch, and I'm cutting off his seatbelt. We're getting him out the window, and he's finally out of the window, and he's stunned. He doesn't really understand what's happening. And we get him out of the ditch. I sit him down, and it's like nobody's doing anything. I said, can you get a blanket? Because it's right next to a daycare. So get a blanket. So this woman runs in and gets a blanket, brings it out to him. And I'm having him lay down, and I'm asking him questions that he's not answering correctly. So I'm confident he has a concussion. So finally the police officer pulls up, And he says, who are you? I helped him get out of the truck. I think he has a concussion. He's going to need an ambulance. And I walk off. I don't stick around to sign signatures or autographs. And this is the problem I think a lot of people run into. In today's society, you don't go up to the officer and say, can I help? Because you're going to spend the next 2 years in trouble, some sort of trouble. I'm not saying you're going to go to jail if you've done anything illegal. I'm just saying they are going to harass you. You know, all heroes become villains. If you're going to help somebody, don't brag about it. Get in there, help, leave. Or just don't help at all. And that's where I'm at in life. I won't help anybody anymore. So if you click this up next box, take you to a video where I was talking about a compilation video of the tiny house build. So if I can inspire you to live in peace when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.